Hey, what's up everybody, Radx here, the one from 72, the ultra neutral. This is a video that I picked up from somewhere else of a woman who actually has an encounter with an Anunnaki. Now, she doesn't say it's an Anunnaki, and the interviewer doesn't say she's an Anunnaki. However, when you listen to the way she describes the Anunnaki, and then if you go and you look at the Sumerian tablets, she's describing Anunnaki. If you look at the old Egyptian hieroglyphs, she's describing the Anunnaki. So that's pretty much what she's describing. However, the interviewer has his bias because he's, your white wing Christian type who has some racist issues, which that's all fine. Those, I'm not going to begrudge him because that is his narrative and that is his narrow points of view. However, we have to look at this more subjectively and look at it in a different aspect than just saying, oh, they're demonic, that's demons and stuff like that. The fact is that in her encounter that she had with this Anunnaki, it did not harm her. It actually, she had missing time. The Anunnaki came to her and she stopped in her car. Nothing happened to her other than the fact that she did have the missing time. So, in my guess is that Anunnaki probably read her life from birth to death and knew everything about her in the moments that he was there with her, and knew that she also had superstitious issues. And because of that, there ended up being issues where later on when she gets back to her house, she gets out her gun, and that is a threatening posture. Obviously, she's now afraid and she wants to try to kill the thing if it comes anywhere near her. And then I guess that the Anunnaki, or one of the Anunnaki, or one of, could have been just a bird who is, also Anunnaki, that came and harassed her dogs and stuff, and they shot it like a few times and stuff. So it's an incredible story. I believe her story to be true and accurate, or else I would not be sharing it. And also, you got to understand that Anunnaki do walk among you. They have been here for a very long time. There are Draconians who are here as well, which are Dragonkin, which are the Mothmen. And then you have also Anunnaki who are, like, I would say, some of these Anunnaki may be performers, usually singers, because of the sound and stuff, and how, song is important to the Anunnaki. They use sound as a weapon, and they use it as a healing art as well. So yeah, I would suggest that you listen to this with an open mind. Get rid of your superstitious bullshit with the dogma thinking of, oh, this is demonic. Nothing evil happened to her, but she automatically tagged it as evil, and that is a problem. And that's the reason why most people do not get contact, because of old superstitious dogmatic thinking. And with that, enjoy this video.
I am broadcasting on all AM frequencies. I will be at the South Street Seaport every day at midday, when the sun is highest in the sky. If you are out there, if anyone is out there, I can provide food, I can provide shelter, I can provide security. If there's anybody out there, anybody, please, you are not alone.
Also, I have to slip this in here. When you get done watching this video, this interview, go and watch the music video with Madonna Frozen. She has set in there, and she is portraying Anunnaki. So that way you can understand further of what I'm talking about with Anunnaki that walk among you. And a lot of them are probably musicians, singers and stuff. So yeah, I would suggest to go watch that video. It's Madonna's Frozen.
Today I have someone who is from Texas. Her name is Debbie, and she has had an encounter with a strange human bird-like creature, and she really wants to find some other people or some information that will help her kind of figure out if anyone else has kind of seen one of these things, and I can really relate to that. So let's just go to our guest, Debbie in Texas. Hello, Debbie. How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good, Brandon.
All right. But I guess what we'll do is you can kind of start out by just telling us, where you live, where you had this encounter, and then just take us through this bird creature encounter and give us like all the detail you can, description and what have you, and as just as best description you can give so that people can completely understand as much as you can do anyway. And
Okay.
we'll find you some similar encounters.
All right. Well, I live in a dense wooded area that's got a river that runs down about a mile to the back of our house down here. So basically what we did is we bought 15 acres, and then we just kind of cut out a spot in the woods and built our house here, and I wanted it private, so it is very private. But I didn't realize when we got here or moved in here that it was going to be all kinds of encounters and things that happen down in these woods by the river. And I've seen some weird stuff, and I've heard some weird sounds out here. And the encounters had, though, have not really been out in here, but one of them I did have that was very strange and that has bothered me since is one on our county road that's about half a mile from our road gate. As you turn off of it, I'll just go back to the night that it happened. I was coming in from South Texas. My husband at the time worked on the road, Pipeline Road, and we had an RV in South Texas. Well, I would go back and forth to visit him. It's a long drive, so I would come in and I'd be so ready for the country and, my house, my peaceful place. And so I always had a kind of a routine. I'd come down the highway, and as I was coming and turning off of our county road, I would always roll the window down and put some old rock and roll on, and I would enjoy the smells, of the country and everything, and the music, and I would just ride real slow till I got to my road gate. And as I turned there, though, there's a ranch that starts there, and it's called Lamb Ranch. Well, anyway, it has a tower there. It's a big water tower. And I was talking to my aunt on the phone, and I remember the time because I looked at it, and it was 11 o'clock. I said, I'm going to let you go. I kind of flew up to her. I was trying to get off the phone. I told her I was in my driveway, but I just wanted to get off the phone so I could enjoy my little half mile. And but this time ends up being important.
Right.
I hung the phone. I always carry my, I've got a Smith & Wesson, a gun. I carry it with me on this trip, and I had it right there, laying by my lap. And also I keep it laying right there, and my cell phone. I had put it down, and I just wanted to, relax a minute. And so I heard this noise as I was coming down the road. And I looked to the left and at that water tower, and I saw something. Even though it was 11 o'clock at night, I could see. I don't know if it was the moon or if it was just a glow around it or what, but I could see what was going on up there, and it shocked me. I thought, what in the world? Because I've never seen anything on that water tower ever. And I saw these bird-looking creatures, big ones. They were in a circle, going around in a circle on the top of the tower, doing this chant. I heard them before I saw them, and then I looked up and I saw them. Just a second after I was trying to figure out what it was, like I said, I had my window down. I had stopped. I didn't even have my car in park. I had just had my foot on the brake. And while I was looking, all of a sudden, this creature appeared right there on the road, right beside my car, in my car window.
My goodness.
And it shocked me to no end. I mean, it freaked me out because I thought, what? I didn't even know what to think. And this creature was it did not fly, even though it had wings. It didn't fly off of that tower. It just, like it appeared right there. I didn't see it fly because I was looking at the tower the whole time. And I did see one that was taller. It was one of the winged creatures that was taller than the others.
Right.
About a foot or so taller.
Yeah.
And it was the one, and I say he because it looked male to me in feature. But
Right.
this is the best I can describe this, is that it was a male creature with a white face. The face, it had black eyes, no pupil. I couldn't even see a pupil. It was just black eyes. It had a solid white face like you would paint, like a clown face, like you would paint it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a square kind of looking mouth, but the lips were almost cherry red. It was almost like the art that you see where people will paint their face white.
Right.
And do the, like that with the black eyes and the lips. It looked like that. And it had wings, though, that came all the way down to its ankles. I remember that. They were huge, huge wings, and they were soft looking, very feathery. And it had it all over its body. It wasn't just the wings. Because I was such in shock. I really wish I would have looked more to see what it looked like. And I was staring straight at it, but mostly in its face because it was down under my car. The other part of the body of it was under my car window. Well, I was too scared to look down. I just was sitting there.
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I've never had that happen before. Not like that.
I
Anyway.
know.
It was just,
I know. I don't think something wants me to tell my story or something out here. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of strange you were saying stuff about the phone calls, and well, I can hear you really well. If you want to pick it back up at the vehicle when this thing comes down onto the road and you see it, and start the description over from there.
Okay. Well, when I heard the chanting up there, of course, I was trying to figure out what it was, and I'm got my foot on the brake, but I never even put my car in the park, and I'm looking up at the tower at these big birds doing this flopping and chanting, and kind of like it impressed me as right off the bat, something evil. Well, all of a sudden, this creature appears in my window at the car. It didn't fly, it just appeared. And it didn't say anything, it just looked at me, and I mean, it was close. I'm talking about, it peered into my window. My window was open. I had to kind of move my head back to get away from it. And it had hands like a human. It was a human body. I'm just going to say it was a human man, but it had wings and feathers.
Oh, was the feathers all over the body?
Huh?
Was the feathers like all over the body?
Yes. The feathers were all over the body. And the wings were huge. And they were so cold black, it was almost a bluish looking color. And they were soft looking. You could tell. It was a soft feathery.
So the color of the whole creature was black?
Yes. The whole creature was black except for its face. Its face was white. Solid white. Like a
geisha girl.
Painted white, but it wasn't. It was like these clowns that you see with this white face makeup, that has the ruby red lips and black eyes. That's what it looked like. The face of it did.
Okay.
And the head part, I keep going over in my mind trying to figure out what the top of his head looked like. I didn't see any hair. I don't remember. It was just black. I don't know if it was covered with feathers or what, but I don't remember any hair. I don't remember seeing the top of its head, basically, what it looked like, other than just black. And I could see that white face coming at me. And it threw its head back and laughed this evil, throaty laugh. And, of course, I was frozen. I did not, my phone and my gun was right there, and I could not touch it. I could not touch it. I still had my foot on the brake from my car running.
Now on the face.
To,
Now you said it had a
huh?
paint. Its face was painted. Was there feathers on the face also, or just the face was bare?
No, his face was bare, and it was just a solid white, like
Okay.
a white, solid face with black eyes and reddish-looking lips. And
Okay.
it when it smiled, this evil-looking smile, it had like a big mouth, like it smiled all over its face almost, and it disappeared, and it went back up on the tower, but I didn't see it fly back up there. It just was back up there. I turned and looked, and that thing and the other birds, the other things was birds, and they did not have a human face. This was the only one that had a human face. The rest of them were just birds.
Okay. Well, how tall were they though?
Abnormal birds. They were abnormally tall, and they had long feathers, long wings like that too. But their face was a bird face, and they had a white face like his, but it was solid feathers and a beak, and they had a white breast, and he had the white face.
Okay.
That was weird. And then they held hands or kind of got close together and got in this chanting mode again. They had stopped. When he come down there to me, I don't know how I realized it, but they had stopped. It was quiet. Then when he got back up there, they started doing the same thing they were doing when I had come down the road, this chanting, flopping around like a demonic flop or something. Best way I can describe it is, like a voodoo type, trance type thing, chanting. It's what it seemed like to me they were doing, like a celebration or victory dance or something. That was in my mind, like impressed in my mind. It was some kind of a celebration or a victory dance.
Okay. So basically, how many of the birds were there? The bird-faced ones, and they were all black with white faces. And some of them had bird faces, and then a white breast on some of them. Did they have arms? The bird ones?
No, I couldn't tell anything that they had human-like, except for no, they just had big wings. I couldn't see no hands or anything. The tower was, pretty far away, not real far away from me, but it was high up too, but I could just see that they were similar to him, but they were birds instead of human face. They were bird face, they looked like birds, but huge, extra huge, large birds. I've never seen, you would never see one of those around here or nothing.
And so they were dancing in a circle on top of this thing.
Yeah, they got in a semicircle around. They were on the top of that tower, going around and around, chanting and flipping and flopping, and they were still there when I drove off. I drove off before I got too far. I stopped my car and I called our caretaker that was here, and I said, "Hey, I just experienced something really weird." I said, "It scared me so bad." I said, "I can't even tell you right now about it." But I said, "Please," I said, "get to the road gate with the gun and lock the gate behind me. When I get in, I'm going to call the police." And he said, "Okay." And when I started coming through the road gate, he said, "Where have you been?" "I've been worried sick about you." I said, "I just left to come. Well, I just called you." He said, "No, you didn't. That was about 45 minutes ago." And I said, "No, I just talked to you." And he said, "No, you didn't." And so I looked on my phone, and it was 11 when I got off the phone with my aunt, and it was 12 o'clock then. So somewhere in there, I lost some time.
An hour. Wow.
I did not sit there and look at them for an hour. I know I didn't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't say how long I sit in that spot, but probably 5 or 10 minutes, maybe. But anyway, when I got here, he locked the gate and everything, and I told him to bring all the guns out on the porch. Yeah, I wanted to watch for this creature, and I'm scared it would follow me, Yeah. And I called the police department or our sheriff's department up here, and and she told me she would send an officer out. And I said, well, don't send him to my house because I locked my road gate. And I'm going to tell you, anything that moves up there is getting shot. I said, so I don't want to shoot an officer. Do not send one down here. I said, you send it to that tower and call me back. And she said, okay. So they called me back. And they said they only saw, the officers went there and saw one blackbird on the tower. And it was just a regular blackbird.
Okay.
I said, well,
how tall was that thing that was standing beside the car? And then you said it was a little taller than the other ones.
Yes, it was probably about 2 foot taller than the other ones. It was about 6.5 foot, probably tall.
Okay.
And the other ones was probably maybe 4.5 or 5 foot, something like that. I couldn't really tell how tall they were. They were big. They were probably, I'm 5'3", so
yeah.
they were as tall as me.
Yeah, well, that's
they might have been taller and he might have even been taller, but I don't think so because he didn't have trouble peering into my window. You know what I mean? He was like a normal sized man, but a tall, big built man. You know.
Okay. So okay, let me get a gist of this then. So you're driving down the road, you're getting near your house to turn on to where your gate's at, because you gotta do you have like a cattle guard and stuff like that you cross over?
No, we just have a gate that we lock. You know, it's just called our road gate. I turn off of the main road onto the county road. It's where that tower is, and then I make another turn onto our private road, and then I go about 1/4 of a mile, and then there's our road gate that we keep open normally.
So this is close to your house. So this is close to your house. It's the water tower that you use, right?
It's not a water tower I use. It's the water tower the ranch uses. But yes, it's within walking distance from my house.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it's the water tower for the ranch. It's not like a city water tower.
No, this is way out in the country.
Okay.
This is way out in the country.
So
I say way out. It's out by the river, but by the Trinity River.
So is this one of those water towers that's like the big, not super tall like the water towers for a town? This is a water tower that's basically feeding a ranch, right?
Exactly. Yes, it's a round, water tower. It's not a real big one, but it's a normal sized water tower. I can't say really how tall it is, but it's got it's round, it's got a big like top on it, like the round top, it's got a ladder on the side. I guess, you could go up there, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Used to I would, but not now.
So let's walk through this for a second. Okay, say there was there 4 or 5 of those birds with the bird faces?
No, there's about 15 of them.
Oh, really? That many? Goodness.
Yes.
And then the main leader, of those
birds that did not have a human. He was the only one that had a human face. The only one.
Okay. So these were fowls of the air. I mean, that's kind of when sometimes the Bible talks about the demonic entities as fowls of the air. So anyway, that's very interesting. And they were all basically black except for white faces, and the birds had like white on their chest.
Yes.
Now the legs on the birds were those bird legs, so they basically looked all completely like birds, but really big.
But and they were standing though. They were standing on their back, on their legs though. They were standing up.
Right.
Walking.
Okay.
They looked like blackbirds, but they were walking. They were dancing.
Okay. Did you notice that they had human-like legs, or what? I'm trying to get a picture of how a bird would be dancing. Did it look more like an upright creature and bird-like, or did
it was an upright?
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's a very, very evil thing. So when you went to your house, they were still up there doing their dance.
Yes, I left them.
All right. Yeah. So whatever happened, the police went out there and they didn't see anything but a black bird. And then did they ever mess with you at your home after that?
The police?
No, the birds.
No.
All right.
No. And I never seen him again, but let me tell you what happened the next day.
All right.
The next day, the caretaker and I were out here in the yard, and we were talking about the incident. And there was it was like either a crow or not a buzzard, what do you call it?
Raven?
A raven. It looked like a raven, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
It was up on, I looked, and all of a sudden it was just there. It was up on this railing. We've got a handicap ramp, and it was on the top of the arm thing, the handrail.
Okay.
And we have these little Yorkies out here, and we always watch for buzzards or any big birds or anything, because I'm always scared something's going to dip down. And these little Yorkies are little bitty. I'm afraid they're going to dip down, and we have a fenced-in yard. This yard is fenced in, and it's pretty good size. But I watch anyway, because hawks and things fly down and get them. Well, I saw that, and I told it, and it didn't look big enough like it could carry a dog off. It was just a regular-sized raven. Well, the next thing I see is it flew outside the fence and got in front of our gate right there where you walk into the yard. And Robert and I walked out. We've got two gates. Well, we walked out the other gate. And I said, look at that thing. I said, is something wrong with it? I said, it's not flying or going on. It's just staying there. And he said, I know. It's weird, isn't it? And so we walked over to it and started shooting it. I said, oh, I think this thing might have rabies or something. I said, it's not going on. Anyway, it started walking, and it was looking back behind it like it wanted us to follow it. So we did. It went into the woods in this trail that I have. I have like a little garden up in the woods here, a sitting garden. It went up in there. And we're following it. And all of a sudden, it disappears. And there's some underbrush and stuff there. I said, did it go in that underbrush? And I mean, we're looking for it and everything. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, but I just hit my head like the top of a V8, like I wish I'd had a V8. And I said, it's in the yard. And me and him both took off running back to the yard, and that thing was attacking my dogs. And I had to literally, and I have had hip surgeries, but I tell you what, I ran and I had to take my shoe off real quick and throw it, chunk it at it to keep it from getting one of my dogs.
Good.
And I hit it with the shoe. And when I did, it just flew right back and got to another dog. There was three dogs out in the yard. It went and flew on to another dog, and I picked up a stick and threw it because I'm running and doing this at the same time, because we were up in the woods. And I had to run, we were running back. And the thing was attacking the dogs. Well, finally, I got up to it. And do you know I had to kick that thing off of my dog? I kicked it as hard as I could. And that thing took off and it flew, but it didn't go anywhere. It flew up here and landed on the fence post. I told Robert, go get the gun. I said, this thing, something's wrong with this thing. I don't know what it is. It's weird. Anyway, he went in the house, got the gun, come back. And he shot that thing I don't know how many times, and it did not do nothing but sit there and look at us. And we felt helpless. We were like, what are we going to do? Anyway, I got the dogs in the house, come back out, it's still sitting there. Didn't die, nothing.
So what was he shooting?
Huh?
What was he shooting with?
I think he had a 22.
Okay.
But I'm telling you,
Was he
right
hitting
there
it?
it was in our yard. I mean, he shot it like right there, like at close range. You could see the feathers flying, and the thing did not die. Finally, I said, empty the gun in it, and he just kept shooting it, and finally it flew onto a stump out there. And he shot probably half of a thing of bullets, shells in that, and it finally jumped off the stump and walked off. Just kept walking, walked out into the woods, and I saw it fall. I said, it fell over. I said, I think it died. Maybe it's dead. And we was having an argument over who was. I said, you're the man. You go look. And he said, no, you go look. We were going to go see if it. Anyway, we were both scared to go out there. And we're not scared of nothing out here. I never have been. But we were scared
Did you ever go
see
look?
if it had died.
Did you go look?
Yes. I went and looked, and it was gone.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you shot it that many times, that's weird that it would just walk off. I mean, that sounds kind of like the thing that was you were talking about that didn't fly. You never seen nothing. One of them things you saw fly, did you?
No. And do you know I did not pick up on that until probably a few months later. We were sitting out here and got to talking about that on the porch, and I said, you know what? I think that thing morphed into that bird and was trying, and that deal that I saw on that road, I think it morphed into that bird. I do.
Yeah.
And it come to my house.
Even when the cop went out there, he saw just a black bird, right?
Exactly. Yes, just one black bird.
And so this raven that you were shooting at that was attacking your dogs, was it black also?
Solid black.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's
and
incredible.
It was weird. I've never in my life encountered anything like that. I mean, the thing should have died with one shot.
Right.
But he shot it at a time. And you could even see the feathers flying off of it, but it wouldn't die. And it just kept sitting there staring at us. Like, you're not going to see me.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's incredible.
I'm not done with this story, though.
Okay, go ahead. Finish it up. This is very interesting.
Well, my caretaker, after a couple of days, he said, well, I got something to tell you. And I said, what? And he said, I saw that, too, up there on that road. I said, you did? I said, why didn't you tell me? And he said, I just didn't think nobody would believe me. And he said, I don't know. I didn't know how to tell you. And I said, I tell you what, you draw me a picture of what you saw, and I'm going to draw you a picture of what I saw. And he drew his, and I drew mine, and we shared pictures, and it was the same exact thing. Well, he told me that he was coming through there in the pickup one day. This was about 3 weeks before I saw it. And he said that it stepped out. Well, he saw it on the tower, too, doing that chanting and stuff, because I asked him. I said, what were they doing? And he told the same exact, he said, I don't know, they were hopping around like weird, like jumping around, hopping around. I said, did it seem evil to you? He said, very. He came home. He didn't get encountered when he just saw that. He came home and got his gun and went back up there, and they were still there. And he said this human one, it came out. He didn't see it fly either. It just appeared to him in the middle of the road. He got right in front of his truck in the middle of the road, like stopped him. And he got out of his truck with his gun. And he said he didn't say a word, but he thought it. In his mind, he said, does it have hands? What in the world? And he said that thing put his hands out in front of him and said, yes, I have hands.
My goodness.
Told him. And he said it had on red tennis shoes. I said, come on. He said, yeah. I said, well, I didn't see it at the feet. But he said, yes, it had on red tennis shoes. And see, what's weird, though, is our caretaker had a pair of red tennis shoes. Has a pair of leather, solid, bright red tennis shoes. And I'm wondering if it wasn't mocking him or something. I don't know. But he said it had on red tennis shoes. He said it was solid black. He named everything exactly like I did, but he said it had on red tennis shoes. I said, for real? I didn't see that, but he did.
Wow. Did he shoot?
No. He said it scared him so bad he didn't know what to do. He said he got back in his truck and come home. And he said he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say about it or anything. He said he didn't want to tell nobody, you know. Then that is not even all of it. I had gotten to where I was going around. We have like a horseshoe road. I was going around and coming back out on the other road to get to town. And I thought, you know, I'm not going to let that keep me because it was a lot longer way. And I thought, this is, you know, crazy. I'm going to go down my road. You know, I'm not going to let this entity scare me about going down my road anymore. So I went on back down our road one day. This was probably a couple of months after this happened. And there was a man, the man that's the closest house to the tower. It's a little small, like caretaker-looking house to that ranch. And him and this other guy was working. He's an old black man. Well, him and this other guy was there working on the fence. And I stopped. And I asked her, I said, hey, have y'all seen anything weird going on this tower out here? Like, I said, I hate to say, but anything weird? And the black man, he stopped what he was doing, and he walked over to my car, And he said, like what? I said, have you seen anything? Because you live the closest to it. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, like birds, like animal looking, humanoid looking something, you know, like a bird but huge, that has wings, but that has a man's face. And he said, well, yeah. He said, I didn't, but he said, my brother comes from Houston and stays the weekends with me sometimes. He said he came down here, he walked in the house, and he said he told me, he said he laughs when he's real nervous. He said he got to laughing, and he couldn't hardly say what he wanted to say, and he kept laughing, and he said, I said, what is going on? He said, man, I'm going to have to leave. I'm going back to Houston. He said, I cannot stay here tonight. He said, why? He said, there's something weird going on that tower. He said, you've never seen it? He said, no. And he said, well, it is. And he said, I can't stay here. I just can't. And then he tried to, the brother tried to pull it out of him what it was. And he said, it's some bird-looking thing, man. He said, I'm telling you, I'm going back to Houston right now. He left. He never come back. He's never spent another weekend here. And he won't even talk about it to the brother over the phone or nothing. That's what he told me.
Huh. Man, that sounds...
So there's two other people that encountered this, you know, besides me. And so I know two other people have seen it, but I have searched the internet, I've searched videos, websites, everything. I can't find anything that looks exactly like what I saw. It was demonic, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
But I don't find anything on it. You know, I'm just hoping that somebody can help me that maybe has seen the same thing or encountered something similar that might comment or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's demonic because you know, a lot of times in the scriptures that the demonic entities are referred to as the fowls of the air, you know, and the prince of the power of the air and things like that. But they're referred to as birds, you know, in a way. It's very, very similar to that kind of description. But that is the most weird, unusual thing. It almost seems like a principality or something over that particular area. Is there any strange history or something that you know of that went on in that area? Maybe Indian burial mound type stuff or anything like that?
Yes.
Oh,
This
really?
used to be a cotton planting area right here. And our home, our place right here that we have is on the old slave quarters. This is where the old slave quarters houses were.
Okay.
And I have a lady that lives across the river from us. She's a black lady, and she has written a book on some family history of hers, and she did some research on this area. And she told me that there was a lot of black magic had been performed down in here years back.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, but that's all I know. Is that this was a plantation at one time, a cotton plantation, and actually this area that we're in right here, and where the tower was or is, and where I am now, was the slave quarters homes.
Well, I'm gonna have to wrap it up right here, and send me those pictures, send me the drawing and stuff, and of whatever you can find. And thank you very much, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll talk about the rest of the other stories and stuff like that, and I'll help you get that sent to me. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and all right.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Welcome. You can call me Radix, the ultra neutral, the one from 72. Doing more and more research and more digging, it now is more apparent to me that we are in a natural reality dealing with an alien species that has hacked time. And because of that, they have left a huge piece of evidence, which is the year 1972, and how that year actually connects to the year 2020, and how I am the only person in the world that is educating people and bringing the message and was able to predict the election action in 2020 through great detail, as well as other predictions that also came true that have to do with looking at the year 1972 and the time hack and how it affected the year 2020 and will lead us into civil war as well as a galactic war that is clearly upon all of us that is coming down. And you'll see that evidence by coming here and looking at the evidence that I present. I'm also going to be teaching you things about how flying saucers work, things about different alien species like the reptilians, the Anunnaki, and about the Greys, because I myself had a reptilian experience where my mind was unlocked, and that is one of the great reasons why I'm able to present all of this knowledge, because up until the year 2017, when my mind was unlocked, not long after that, I was starting to able to see the holes in the reality, see all the connections of the things that were going on that led to a time hack, which tells us learn from them and push forward as humanity, and not to suppress one another and suppress our own species. So if you're ready to have your mind unlocked, if you're ready to receive the message that nobody else in the world is talking about, if you're ready to see the truth, if you're ready to understand and look at the evidence, then welcome to Rat X Files.